Hey everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today I'm going to be talking about the incredibly relevant topic of my top 10 movies of 2015. So the reason I'm doing this now is a few reasons. One, I'm kind of lazy, and B, so many movies from the previous year don't actually make it to theaters till the next year. And I'm not saying that 2015 movies are coming out in September, but a lot of movies do come out, post Oscars, sometimes like April, May, and then you think it's a 2016 movie, and then you're like, oh, that was actually a 2015 movie, and it's only because it had some kind of film festival release in like November, but then it didn't really get a worldwide release till March or whatever. So I decided, let's do this. It's Oscar season. All the good movies are starting to come out now. So let's talk about my favorite movies from last year. Number 10 is Shaun the Sheep. So there were some really good animated movies that came out in 2015, like really good. Shaun the Sheep was one of my favorites. Just the animation, it's so unique, it's really cool, and it had really good storytelling, and that was sort of the biggest for me because this film is primarily a silent film. The characters don't really say a whole ton, but the story is so strong and it's so funny. There was one point when we had to actually pause it because I was laughing so hard. I don't know, it's just the facial expressions, the weird noises. It's just a funny movie that anybody can enjoy, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Number 9 is Joy. So Joy got really mixed reviews when it came out, and something about it I really gravitated to it. Jennifer Lawrence is really good in it, as expected, but it's the way that the story was told, really interesting. I mean, it's about this young girl who's invented a mop, which sounds boring, but there's a lot of whimsical charm to it, really odd and surreal parts, and it is definitely a drama. I know it got nominated in Best Comedy at the Golden Globes. I don't know what that was. I seriously do not understand that because there were some very serious moments in this movie, but they did a kind of neat thing where they kind of would suddenly sort of cut away to scenes, kind of like a cutaway gag, but not a cutaway gag. Just comparing her life to like a 1980s soap. It was kind of interesting. I don't know. I thought this movie was actually really good for the topic, and I thought it was carried out really well. It did have mixed reviews though, so you may have watched it and thought it was just absolutely awful. But I thought it was really good, so definitely give it a shot. Number 8 is Eye in the Sky. So I didn't see this movie until like March. It was like way after the Oscars, but it made my list just because it was actually such a good movie. And it's like a behind the scenes war movie. I know a lot of war movies are like, combat oriented, but this was about drone strikes. So it's all about behind the scenes, about what goes into a drone strike. And, honestly, just really good acting from Helen Mirren, Alan Rickman, Aaron Paul, and Barkhad Abdi was like really good in this too. Lots of tension. You're sitting there. It is so intense. This is just overall a really good movie. Number 7 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So I'm like a really hardcore Star Wars fan, and so it was not really a surprise that this movie ended up in my top 10. And at first I was like, oh, should I put it in there? Because I saw some theoretically maybe better movies or whatever. But I thought they did just a great job with this, because I know we were all so worried about Star Wars. Are they going to wreck it? Is this going to be another Attack of the Clones? Like, it's so scary. Like, you don't know. But judging from the trailers and the way it was being marketed and everything we had seen, I was actually, I had really high hopes. And overall, it was just so well done. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was, the story's great and everything and the characters, but the fact that they used a lot of practical effects, it made the movie so much better. I wasn't saying, ooh, that's all CGI'd. Of course, there are a few things that were CGI'd, and actually the big obvious ones, Maz and Snoke they kind of bothered me a little bit just because I could so tell they were CGI. But other than that, the practical effects in this were fantastic. I mean, BB-8 It's, you know, they could have CGI'd all of that. They chose to build real BB-8 models. New characters are fantastic. I like the mix in this movie of old and new. So, you know, this movie is full of fan service for everybody. Just everything. Certain lines they have to throw in there. Just everything. Sometimes it was really in your face. But I actually like that. It didn't bother me. That they would just, you know, something old, like constantly in your face. But then it was okay because it was kind of a nice way to bring the old characters in and sort of set them aside and say, okay, we're sort of not saying goodbye to them, but we're really embracing all the new characters. So overall, this is just fantastic. And John Williams' score was incredible. Just, there's not really a lot to not like about this movie. I just thought it was great. Number 6 is Mustang. I think this is a movie that a lot of people didn't see, but it is something you should see. It's a French movie, but it's all in Turkish and takes place in Turkey. So I guess it's just like French directors or whatever. So it counted as a movie from France at the Oscars because it was nominated for Best Foreign Film. But it's really intense. This is like fantastic. It's about a bunch of sisters. They're orphans, so they're living with extended family. But it's under like seriously conservative rule, and you know, some of them are starting to be married off, and it's sort of their story about rebelling and trying to get out of this horrible life. And it is just like, oh my god, there were some seriously gripping moments in this. Really, really good. And more people definitely need to see this in, like, well, basically anywhere outside of Europe or wherever it wasn't obvious to see it, because this is just a overall, like, you are like, it was really good. Number 5 is Inside Out. So this is, you know, a movie about personifying emotions. It sounded like a really cool concept when I first heard about it. I was really excited, but it really did deliver. In fact, I thought this was one of the best Pixar movies in a long time. Not just for the originality of it, but just everything. The storytelling was great. I really enjoyed the characters, and oh my god, the score was fantastic. Michael Giacchino was just unreal. This is just top-notch stuff here. I just loved all of it. Just, you know, creating characters out of emotions, making tangible places out of, you know, places in our minds, like the subconscious, and it was a place that the emotions could actually go to physically, or your dreams, or your imagination, and stuff like that. This was just a really unique concept, and I would put it, you know, as far as one of the most creative Pixar movies next to WALL-E, because I thought that was one of their best movies ever. Probably, maybe my number 1, WALL-E, but Inside Out was, like, amazing. Number 4 is Remember. So this is a movie that I think had a funny release. I believe it counts as a Canadian movie. I think the movie came out in Canada, and it came out first and then had 2016 release in the United States. But I don't know how well it was received there. Really famous people in this. There's Christopher Plummer, Martin Landau, Dean Norris. I mean, Christopher Plummer is, like, you know, a huge actor. Same with Martin Landau. So it's not like small people in this movie, but I don't know. I just feel like nobody saw it. But this was really good. Just a quick summary. Christopher Plummer plays a Holocaust survivor who is, you know, really old now. He's in a nursing home. He has dementia, but he still really wants to find the Nazi who murdered his family so long ago. And it's kind of what it is. I mean, he has dementia. He's in a nursing home. He leaves. His family they don't know where he went. And he's on this journey to try and find this person. And it is absolutely amazing, really interesting, just stuff that happens with the story that maybe you don't expect. I thought this was just phenomenal. I thought it was a great movie. I really do like a lot of movies that with older actors. Not revenge, but like I really enjoyed Philomena, for instance. I just sort of like these stories about, you know, something that happened long ago, the person's older now, and blah, blah, blah. This is just a really cool movie, and if you've never heard of it, it is really worth your time. Number 3 is Straight Outta Compton. So this movie was such an Oscar movie, yet it was so snubbed by the Academy. Really weird. I don't know what was going on there, because this movie was quite incredible. You know, just a really great story, great acting. Honestly, everything about it was great. I was like hooked, and I was gravitated to it the whole time. It's really relevant to what's going on today, so as much as that is not good, it's a very interesting watch. And one thing I will say about this is if you think or didn't go see it because you think, oh, I don't like rap or I have no interest in NWA or whatever your reason, just go see it because it's a big part of history and it's just a really good movie and you don't need to like rap to go see it, because I think maybe that turned people off. They're like, oh, it's just a documentary about a rap group or whatever. Or not a documentary, but you know what I mean. It's a movie about a real group, and if you don't like rap, it won't be for you. But that is so wrong. Anyone can enjoy this. You do not have to even know anything about NWA. So just overall, a fantastic movie. Kind of had everything, the whole makings of an Oscar movie. So it's too bad that didn't really get recognized. Number 2 is Room. So Room was, and obviously it was a really good movie and everything, and it had lots of tension in the actual room part of the movie. But what I really enjoyed about this movie was the stuff after, and that's not a spoiler because the movie is about their life after they get out of the room after being, captured and everything. But it was just so well done. She had this kid in the room, so he's never actually seen the outside world, and it almost isn't, it's hard for him to even grasp what the outside world is, that there's things outside of these four walls, because he's never been outside of that room before. I don't know, just them adjusting to normal life and being a part of society, and was just so well done. Really good acting, absolutely so intense. There's one scene in this movie where I remember we were in the theater and like my hands were sweating because I couldn't even handle it. It was way too much. It's just really good. Like if you're looking for a solid, like, well, it's not a thriller, but it's just a really good drama with thrilling moments. Just overall, this is just a fantastic movie, and that's why it's my number 2. Number 1 is The Hateful Eight. So we've made it to my number 1 movie, a movie I didn't think would actually end up in the number 1 spot at all. Love Quentin Tarantino and everything, but I don't know, I just didn't think this would even maybe make my top 10, but this movie is incredible. It does everything right, down from the acting to the screenwriting to Ennio Morricone's like phenomenal score. This is just, it's really good, very intense, and just an overall a fantastic drama. Quentin Tarantino is a great writer, and this movie is so well done because it basically takes place, the whole movie, and it's over 2 hours long. This is a long movie, basically in one room. So it's a really interesting concept, and it could be very well executed as a play. This could totally just be a play because you don't need a lot of scenes or different changes. You just basically need that one room, the cabin that they're in, and it's just really good. There's no dull moments. It's just, I don't know, there's fun plot twists. All the characters were so well developed, and it's just overall so much fun. I know some people get turned off from like violence from Quentin Tarantino movies, but it's so theatrical and sort of, I don't want to say phony, but his way of using violence sometimes can be so over the top that it's hokey on purpose. So I don't know, like, it doesn't offend me at all. I don't know why people get so upset. Oh, it's so violent, but it's done so over dramatic and exaggerated that it's done on purpose to give for a very specific effect. And actually, compared to some of his other movies, this movie is not that violent. In my opinion, but it's just overall, wow, this is incredible. So I saw a lot of movies last year. I think it was 88 or 90, somewhere between, I think, 80 and 90 movies last year. Not all movies that were current, but a lot of movies. I mean, most of we go to the theater almost every week, so I did see a lot of movies in theaters. So, I'm just going to briefly list some movies I think you should see that didn't make my top 10, but they are honorable mentions. So I'm just going to list them, and then it's up to you to go and see them and check them out. Disclaimer, some of these movies are not 2015 movies. They are maybe 2014. There's one that's a 2013, and the only reason they're on this list is because they didn't really have like theatrical releases until 2015. So maybe they came out in Japan in 2014, but they counted as a 2015 movie here, or they didn't come out in theaters, so I'd never even heard of it 2000. So I'm not picking, like, I'm not going to put, like, Top Gun on this list or something weird. You're not going to see that kind of stuff. But just an honorable mention in case you're like, that's not a 2015 movie. It's like, I'm just telling you right now that's what's happening. So I'm just gonna list them right now. All right, in no particular order. These are movies I think you should see that were from the last year-ish. So we've got The Revenant, Stanford Prison Experiment, Bridge of Spies, Ex Machina, When Marnie Was There, in Japanese of course, The Boy and the World, Chappie, True Story, The Wolf Pack, The Gift, Hyena Road, Thebe, The Tribe. That's very interesting. If you have, I'm not going to say anything else about that. Just go look up that movie. Trumbo, Everest, Winter on Fire, Ukraine's Fight for Freedom, and Where to Invade Next. Yes, I saw a lot of other movies, and in fact, there's a lot of other movies I saw from 2015 that I did actually enjoy, and I'm not putting on this list because I don't want to name every movie I saw. There are movies I did not like, and there are movies I did like, but I'm just not going to mention them here because whatever. So those are my top 10 movies of 2015. I'm curious what yours were, and curious what other movies you liked, or if you saw a movie and you loved it and I didn't mention it, then definitely leave in the comments. Then I may comment back and tell you what I thought of it if I saw it. You never know. So please like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and I'll see you guys later.